and hearing more from the folks that are here doing the work and making this thing all happen. So we're going to have a panel discussion. And so I'm going to have, if it's okay, the panelists, I don't know how we want to do it. If you all want to unmute, if not, we can just popcorn it. That might be a little too much. So that is okay. But I'll start with our president and CEO, Jimmy McGee, introducing himself, and then we'll go to Keisha, and then we'll just kind of flow there with introductions, and then we'll get into some questions. Before I let Jimmy go, if you all have questions out there, you can raise your hand by going to the reactions tab. There should be an indicator telling you to raise your hand. If you don't see that, you can also go to the participants tab, find your name, and you should be able to raise your hand that way as well. If not, you can throw questions in the chat, and we will be monitoring it just to get your questions answered. So, with that, I will let Jimmy go first, and then we'll go from there. So, Jimmy, are you here in the space?
I'm here. How you doing,
Awesome.
people? Good evening. For all you people up north in Wisconsin, my birth state. I was chilling today in 72 degrees down here in Atlanta. Don't mean to make you get a little salty, but I just need you to know that it can get warmer as the year progresses. So it's great to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Jimmy. Keisha, can you go ahead and introduce yourself yet again?
Hello again. My name is Keisha Wilkinson, and I'm the Wisconsin City Director, overseeing all the impact chapters in the state of Wisconsin.
Awesome. Nice, sweet, to the point. Love it. Then we'll have Ramia go right ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Ramia and I am actually the campus coach for UW Whitewater Impact Chapter.
Awesome. And then Elijah, last but certainly not least.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. I do go by EJ. Not because I don't like my name or anything. That's just what I go by. I am the student leader for Whitewater, and I'm a sophomore.
Awesome. Thank you all for that lovely introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with a question. And again, if there are any follow-up questions after this one, or as we're discussing, please feel free to throw them in the chat or raise your hand. So the question I have just to kick us off is, why impact? For you all, what makes it so important? Can you definitely give us your experience, some examples you have off the top of your head as to why impact, why it chose you, why you chose it, everything that you can give us to answer that question? And it can start with anybody.
Well, if you don't mind, I can go first.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so um, the reason why I chose Impact, well, I feel like it was a mutual thing. I chose it and it chose me too. So I felt led to lead some type of group for the past like 3, 4 years before I came to college. So I was looking for a place to like help other people come to Christ and help them just grow. And then I heard about Impact, and then I would go to their meetings and stuff like that. And it was just so great. Had such a good time. I was learning about God and also about my own um, blackness, and it was just a great time. So I was asked to um, share, during that time, and then I was just found myself sharing a lot more than I was going to share, and then sharing what the Lord I feel like was telling me to share, and then they asked me to be a leader. So of course I said yes, so because this is what I was looking for, and the other Christian orgs that were on campus were still good. I'm not bashing them at all, but it was like there's something missing, there's something, some type of us, some type of soul. So yeah, and then so joined this year, and it's just been a great experience. Got to help a lot of people, be used a lot more with my gifts, and it's just been a great time. So that's why I chose Impact.
Awesome.
I'll share. I remember a time where I was raising support years ago. I was at the very beginning stages, and I was sitting down with the UW-Madison alumni, and we were just having a conversation, and she just like just bust out and said, like, I really appreciate the impact that's here. And then she said, like, when I was here, I was involved in a ministry, and I felt like I had to either choose to be a part of this ministry and be committed to growing in my faith, or choose to be a part of the Black community.
Mm.
And ultimately I decided to choose the Black community and to go to church. And she said, going to church is great. And I should have been going when I was in ministry too. But the thing is that just going to church doesn't help me grow in my relationship with Jesus.
Mm.
I don't get accountability. I don't get small groups. I don't get people that are my age, just in a similar situation that I am, that can help me pursue my relationship with Jesus in the way that I need it. And so I think that was like the moment where I'd even make that connection of how impact can be that for students, because I always had Black ministry in undergrad. I never even tried any other ministry.
Mm.
And so to hear someone say, like, impact gives me an opportunity to be fully who I am, that students will be able to be Christian as well as Black.
That's good. Jimmy or Ramia, whoever would like to go next.
I can go. This question is definitely a big question. And if I had to really think back about how I got connected to impact, entering into college, I knew I grew up in church, but I never really fully understood the importance of having a relationship with Christ. And so I knew that entering into college, there were going to be different types of people, and I really had to be strong in my faith. And so I went my first 2 years just being by myself, not really wanting to connect with anyone, just kind of being in my room. And I know my parents and grandparents were always like, you kind of need to get out there, get involved. And our campus really enforces getting involved. And so I knew there was something. I had seen flyers about impact for so long, but I never really was like, I was like, oh, this sounds like something I'll be interested in, but should I go? And so it took my junior year to actually decide, hey, this is something you should be committed to. And so I went to the very first meeting, and I knew that I was missing something. And once I went that very first meeting, I knew that that's what it was. Impact was what it was. And it was a great opportunity for me to first see people that are just like me. Because being on predominantly white campus, you don't really see a lot of us. And so it's like seeing somebody just like me, seeing other students on fire for Christ was just huge for me. And so as far as getting into being a campus coach, that was so interesting. I really had to pray about it, and I was never really confident in who I was and my ability to lead. And Keisha actually approached me and was like, Mia, I think that this would be something good for you. And I'm like, I gotta pray. This ain't, Lord, is this what you want me to do? And when I prayed that, he was like, I've been told you this was something I wanted you to do. So I need you to walk into this, and I need you to just gravitate towards it. And so this has changed my life from a student perspective, and also from a volunteer coach perspective. Like, I enjoy what I do. This is something I look forward to each and every moment that I think about impact. And on top of that, national conference was a seal for me. Like, I was like, yeah, this is it. I can't stop. I got to stay connected with impact for however I can. So being a coach has been how I have stayed connected. So.
Awesome. Take it away, Jimmy.
I was never an impact student, but my passion for campus ministry has never declined. In fact, I think it's stronger than ever right now. I could talk about the three main reasons why impact was, if I think about 2019. If I think about 2019, the standard questions I would say is because we demonstrate to students how they can know Jesus with an embodied faith. a Jesus that inhabits and lives within their Black bodies as they live in this earth, and give them a way to not only know Jesus, but to share their faith with others. If I could also say, it would also contribute, in my mind, the idea of the well-being of of how our students, impact students, can contribute to the well-being to a campus, to the community on the campus, and the community surrounding a campus. That's been my aspirations, and I think it still is demonstrated by our alumni across the country. And then the third thing is that we help, hopefully, can contribute to a new line of defense within churches, going to churches like Fountain of Life, and not only just become members, but also become small group leaders there and leadership in those churches, so that students can translate what they experience with us in the next generation of students. But I think 2020 and all the way up to January 6th changed everything else. The specific thing right now, why I think impact is critical right now, is for two reasons. One, for today's student, today's Black student, HBCU, PWI, PBI, Christian colleges, they want to know that Jesus cares about their well-being and that their lives do matter in this world. And with all of the trauma that was demonstrated in that video, I think that's a key element. I think the second thing, very important, is for today's Black student who doesn't have any remote touch to a Black church or a praying grandmother or anybody that talks about Jesus, impact is necessary because we need to really describe to them a faith that is differentiated from what they know and seen January 6th. As I began to engage this, and as we look forward to being face to face, that's going to be the question that today's Black students are going to ask. This Jesus you're talking to me about, is it connected to that activity and all the other activity that leaves me a victim instead of someone liberated? And that's why I think impact must live in every place, certainly in a state like Wisconsin.
Awesome. Thank you. That was really good. We have our first question in the chat, and please want to remind my audience out there to feel free to ask questions. Again, put it in the chat like this one here, or if you're more comfortable, raise your hand if you want to speak, anything like that. But I'll go ahead with this one. The question is, can you define for us the role of a campus coach? So those of you who are currently campus coaches or have served as a campus coach, can you elaborate a little bit more on what that means, what that role looks like?
I can. So I think the best way to describe it is the whole idea of a coach. So if someone was a coach of a basketball team, they're there to equip others to do the work. And so Impact Campus Coach, they're on campus with student leaders and equipping them to reach Black students on their campus and any students that they encounter. But then they're also a part of that mission as well. And so they're on campus too, connecting and getting to know students, recruiting new team members to be a part of reaching more Black students on campus and seek towards doing God's work beyond their time on campus. And so that looks like being just doing training and development with student leaders, joining student leaders and leading discipleship groups, participating in all of the conferences, retreats, missions trips that their students are going on. Just so many things in there because, you know, when you're a nonprofit, you do everything. So you might design some flyers, and you might make a video, and you might it ranges, but the main thing is that they're there to support and build up the student leaders as well as Black students.
Awesome. Ramia, did you want to touch a little bit on that question as well, seeing that you're currently a coach?
I was about to say, Keisha kind of hit it on the nail real good. When I think of a campus coach, I just think of someone that just works to develop other students to be comfortable with leading. So not only for them to lead, but them, for them to be comfortable with leading.
Mhm.
And so, like she said, it's through those retreats and different things like that. So great job, Keisha. I ain't have to add too much to that.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
the interesting thing with Wisconsin is that we do not have any full-time staff that are coaches in the state. All of our coaches are volunteer staff, and that are working full-time or in school full-time, graduate school full-time. And so you can imagine the struggle, because I was a full, like for a year, I spent most of my time part-time, but for a year or two, I was on staff with Impact full-time as a coach. And it was a lot of work doing it full time. So um, our goal and hope is to see more staff on these campuses working with students, because it's you have a lot of opportunities to really integrate into the Black community, um, get to know every Black student on campus. Like I knew every single Black student on UW Madison campus. If they didn't know who I was, they weren't a part of the Black community. There's no way. And so they might not know me personally, but they knew my face and they knew what I did. And so our goal and desire is to eventually be able to have more full-time staff on these campuses, along with volunteers to assist and support the chapters.
Awesome. Thank you. We got another question in the chat. And this question, I'm going to direct a little bit towards you, a lot, EJ. Get yourself together. Let me get myself together, get your name right. The question is, what sets apart Impact from other faith-based organizations nationwide that would draw students to it? So the reason why I want to kind of target this question a little towards you is, what drew you to Impact? Elaborate a little bit more on what drew you to Impact when you first encountered it, and then I'll spread the question out for others to answer as well. So take it away.
Okay, so to go a little bit deeper, so the first time I even heard of Impact was through my sister, and she was a part of Impact. I don't believe she was a student leader, but I could be wrong. No, yeah, no, but she was just a part of it. And there was a national conference, and you could bring a guest. So she had hyped it all up. So I'm like, oh, bet I'm going. So I got a chance to go, and I had such a great time. There was so many sessions that you could learn more about God, learn more about being a Black man, learn more about being a Black woman, about leadership. And then they had like concerts and stuff like that, and they had some pretty big names at the time. So I'm like, whoa. So what set it apart for me was all of the Black students, which is rare, of course, right? They were my age, they were Christian, and they were not only Christian but trying to reach and be better, and not just settle as I'm Christian and I'm cool with that. So all right, like they're trying to be better, and that's kind of what I was going for too. So that was just a national conference, and then when I got on campus here, what really drew me there was an org fair, and this is when we were still live in person. And I was walking down the sidewalk, and then Sister Mia, I just say sister, but Mia was like, EJ, I'm like, what the word? Hey, what's up? I didn't remember her, but she was so energetic. I'm like, she knows me from somewhere. But just really the conference really drew me in, the people, and then the people on campus, like her, just being so energetic, being so loving, being so caring, and being so or not being so, but trying to reach out and trying to reach me and trying to help me to be better. So that's what separated this org from all of the other ones.
Awesome.
Bobby, could I ask you, so because one of the things that stood out to me for what he said is that he felt welcomed and he felt like he could be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that reminds me of a story that you told me.
Oh,
Don't say the ministry, but I want you to share like your experience coming on campus and how you ended up in the University Gospel Choir and Impact instead of the other ministry you were pursuing.
sure. Yeah, for sure. Wow. Look at that. The moderator becomes the panelist. Yeah, so again, I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and my freshman year, what I really wanted to accomplish was establishing my community. Coming from Baptist born and raised, Chicago, Southside Church, I definitely wanted to find that community to continue building my
Shut
faith. I
up.
was definitely serious about that. So I started looking at the Christian orgs, and it all started for me at an org fair. Um, there was a really big one on campus that I wanted to make sure I saw. So I went to it. It is predominantly white, and I went over to go talk to some of the representatives of the org so that way I could get to know it a little better, start to meet them, and really see like, is this where I want to go and be to grow my faith? I was standing there to meet them, and I'm just this little baby freshman, and no one was paying attention to me. The student leaders that were there at the table seemed to be looking at everyone but me. So I kind of had to wave down and say, "Hey, I'm standing here. Do you not see me? Am I, being a little too timid?" I started questioning myself, like, is it me? Do I smell bad? What's going on? Um, and so then I tried again to approach somebody at that table. It was a white student, tried to approach them to talk to them a little bit more about the org. And instead of talking to me, they kind of again went past me and talked to somebody behind me. So at that point, I was very frustrated. I said, you know what? I don't even want to try anymore because clearly they are not looking for me. I grabbed some candy and a piece of information with their information on it and was like, I'm going to go on my way. And so, frustrated and mad, I'm walking down, and this whole section is dedicated to orgs of faith. And as I'm walking past, I get greeted by this Black student who is standing in front of the board that reads University Gospel Choir. And I was in a gospel choir, and he immediately just started talking to me, not even on joining the org at first, just saying hi to me, welcoming me, and making me feel like, oh, I'm okay to come to your table and I'm okay to talk to you right now. So that really got me to stand there and have a conversation about the University Gospel Choir. And that's where I got my start. In UW Madison is a little special where we kind of have that cute partnership between the University Gospel Choir and Impact. So I got my start at the UW Gospel Choir, and that led me to go to Impact. My first experience being the conference and really getting involved that way, which then led me to becoming a coach after I graduated and all of that. So, honestly, if it hadn't been for that white student not looking my way, I might have been in that other org then to come to Impact. So that is my experience, and I definitely, know that that is the experience of some other Black students too.
Let me just chip in real quick, and I'll be real succinct. I would say the differences between us and others is that we recognize the majority of the Black students that do attend, and many do come from 2, 3, 4 generations of college students. But a lion's share of many of our Black students are first and second generation students in college. And so we feel like, as Impact, as much as we're there to share Christ, there would be no reason in the world where we would ever meet a Black college student if we were not there. And their aspirations to not only to get admitted in college, but to fulfill dreams in their family of getting a college degree. So one of our values, high values, is to make sure that we help our students not only grow up in their faith, but grow out and graduate. And so we really want to be accountable to them to see how they perform in their classroom. What can we do to support them, either with university, directing them to university services, or even within small groups that helps them with their courses. I think the other thing that we really, really, I think she put her finger on it. When I first showed up years ago, we talked about the impact movement as a strategy to win Black people for Christ. And I felt like that wasn't strong enough because we don't exist as a strategy. We're here to recognize the Imago Dei of Black people and that they were created in God's image. And so we put a little bit more teeth in the value of ethnic identity to see that, to let them know that God sees them and God wants to live in them, and that God has not only an agenda for them individually, but the way they can, quote unquote, impact a campus. And then if they do good work on that campus, caring for students, sharing their faith, being present, then we have a lot of faith that they can do that upon graduation in the neighborhoods and in their vocation. So those are two of the ways I would say that are very, very significant for us.
Amen. And I know we are reaching, we actually are past time. This event is supposed to go till 7:45. However, I do see some questions still there in the chat. So if people have time to stick around, we'll be here till 8 o'clock continuing this discussion. If you do have to leave, we thank you so much for coming tonight. I have put the link to give again in the chat for those that might need to see it again. Again, if God is posturing your heart to contribute to this ministry in that way, that is definitely needed. The finances are definitely needed. Your prayers are needed. Talking to folks about impact is needed. All of that is definitely needed in order to continue this ministry. I hope that you have heard some words that have touched your soul and blessed you tonight. But again, we'll continue the conversation. But to those who have to leave, have a good night. God bless. So in continuing the conversation, as those who can stay, stay, and those who leave, leave. The next question that I see in the chat is, for reference, how many campus coaches are fully supported in other states?
Jimmy, I'll give that one to you.
Yeah, I kind of figured that is a good question. Currently, we're at around, let's see, I think we're around 11 staff around the country. We just picked up 2 more staff full-time that's transferring over from one organization to us, and another one that's part-time that's coming over. So we're hitting about 13. I know the numbers seem small. I like to look at impact as the example of 2 things. If you've seen the PBS Special Black Churches, a lot of the theology and commitments that was found in those videos and those documentaries is found here. And we're the HBCUs of campus ministry around the country. We got 11 staff that are impact staff, and we're gaining more, but we're on 60 campuses around the country. We have tons of volunteers. We have a partnership with Cru. And so we're significant in our size, but we're trying to gain momentum in our size.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer. Next question is kind of going along the support route. And that is, how can the church support impact? What types of support can they give, basically? So that is the question in the chat. I'll give that to Keisha and Jimmy. That seems like a you all question, but of course, Ramia or EJ, if you all have any ideas, feel free to chime in.
Yeah. We in the state of Wisconsin, we currently have 15 church partners, which is a lot. They support at different levels and in different ways. We have some church partners that are just contacted just to be a part of events like this, and where I connect with relationally, and I do special acts for different things that pop up throughout the year. So this past year we felt the need to figure out a way to really touch our students without actually being able to touch them. And so we did a fundraiser to get 200 care packages to students across the state. And so all of our church partners were contacted, but those particular church partners that are the lowest level of church partners were included in that call. Because that's usually when I call them is like, we have a special need. And just continue to build relationship until that partnership can grow. We have other church partnerships where they are committed to giving to us either monthly, either to the state or myself monthly or yearly, as well as some connections with students. And so we have a partnership. One partnership in particular is with Mount Zion Baptist Church in Madison. And so they give to Impact every year. As well as we do some partnership ministry with them in their college ministry. So they, when we were in person, they used to do church, they used to do services on Monday nights. And so we will get Black students to that event. And we will encourage Black students to attend their church, as well as Found a Life Church in Madison. We have other churches that are a lot more hands-on, where they have members, multiple members that support staff in the campuses, as well as cook dinner for students sometimes, allow us to use their space for different one-day events or conferences or retreats or different things like that. So it ranges. We have a high value with connecting our students to a church body. And so our desire is to have students know of churches that they can go to on Sunday and connect with and build an intergenerational connection and relationship with people that are not their age, and gain some wisdom and and disciple and mentor others that are younger than them. And so it's very high value, and those partnerships are built based off of the strengths and the ability of the church. It was one church where they had a really strong music ministry. And so what they did is that they paid for their music minister to come work with the University Gospel Choir in Madison. We have another church that has a van that's like, I'll come pick up students on campus. And so every Sunday, our partnership is like, they get our students to church. And so it just ranges depending on what church it is and what they're able to do.
Awesome. Two more questions have popped up, and I know we're coming short on time, so we'll see and try our best to get to them. So first question, what can it look like and mean for non-Black Christians to partner in a redemptive way to impact vision and mission?
Like, if I can jump in real quickly, in most of our work outside of the South, we're PWIs. And what we've discovered when we talk, we were very specific when I became president, when we were looking at new values, that we didn't talk about Black ethnic identity, we talked about ethnic identity, because we recognize that in many of our PWIs, we have white students, some become leaders. At the last national conference, the baddest dressed dude there was this Filipino dude from Kent State.
Yep.
We have Native and Latino students. And so what we want to do is be a welcoming space and offer an alternative culture than what they would get in some of the larger white contexts. And so what I think would be incredibly well is that we're always open with the idea of having Asian, Latino, Black, and Native presence in our organizations. And if the numbers grow to such a level, we will cater to a small group to accommodate a content of a conversation that would happen there. I think that does something special for the campus. That kind of continuity and that kind of solidarity really opens up the imagination. What does it really mean to be people who understand and empathetic and seek relationships across ethnic lines? And I think that's exactly what I would say is a value that we have. And in the places that we do this, those are the places that we have very large chapters, where chapters are in 90 to 100 students.
Awesome. Thank you. Keisha, I'm going to get kind of give this question to you, this next one. Do any of the schools, and of course, speak Wisconsin specific since that's your scope, where Impact is present, invite Impact staff or students to participate or lead in Black History Month events?
Oh, I got to read that again. Okay. Oh, so Black History Month is huge. Because that's like the time and the opportunity to engage the entire Black community on campus in a way that it's a lot harder to do other times. And so we use it as an advantage to catch hold of students we may have missed. And so every campus, we've shifted a little bit this semester for obvious reasons, but usually every campus in Wisconsin that we're on has a Black History Month calendar. So we try to have all of our Impact chapters on that calendar, and then make sure they have some kind of consistent event happening. And some campuses are smaller than others, so they just post all of their regular Impact meetings and do Black History focused events on their regular meeting times. So they don't have the availability to do extra events. Other campuses partner with the Black Student Union or the African Student Association or the NAACP on campus. Our students go to the Black History events as well. So being present in those spaces with students, being actively involved in what's happening is really important. One of the most popular events that we've done is something we call the Night of Black Agape. And it's really like this nice and classy night where we have a red carpet, a paper red carpet, not a, yeah, paper red carpet and like a photo booth. And then we get catered food. And it's usually we invite Black students from across the campus to do spoken word and music. And then we usually have someone do like a small sermonette, and it's a drawing. And so usually in the drawing is like a home cooked meal, which that I did or Bobby cooked, that I cooked or Bobby cooked, or
It was good.
or like a $25 gift card to the grocery store, transportation included. And it was always a scholarship to either the national conference or a fall retreat. And so we will broadcast that, and we usually got anywhere between 30 and 50 students. And the vast majority of them that came were not impact students. And so those are the type of things that we would try to do, is really kind of pull on the weight of Black History Month and their desire to want to engage in events around it, and try to create things that would make students excited to be involved in.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to ask the final question of the night since we're down to time. I would love for you all to answer as briefly as you can, as we only have 2 minutes left. And this one might seem like a lot to answer, but how have you seen the Lord move through Impact this year? So I'll repeat that question again. How have you seen the Lord move through Impact this year? And I would like for all the panelists to close us out with this question. And we can start with Elijah and kind of make our way up.
All right, that's no problem at all. No, so how I have seen God move this year is really through everybody who was a part of D-Ship Group. Just seeing each other grow so much over this past few months has been crazy. Even in myself, seeing myself grow. And we since the start of a new semester, we went and we are doing like the start of our D-Ship Group like lessons and stuff that we do. And we were doing this thing called Soul to Soul, where you share your like testimony. And we did this again last semester, but the difference was last semester when we did it, people were a lot more like closed off. They weren't sharing too much about themselves, or being kind of surface level. But when some of the older people who were there before came back, and we had someone new come, it was a lot more deeper. It was a lot more exposure, and it was a lot more caring, and we were able to give each other advice and just encourage each other. And I just really saw how God used each of us to help each other grow. And when the other person would fall, we were like, no, you're good, God has got you too. No, you're good, God's got you too. So just seeing that transition was just awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, EJ. Ramia?
It's so crazy because I was going to talk about D-Ship Group too. But as far as how I've seen God move, first of all, he's amazing. And so it's just, I feel like he has put it upon us to just be more intentional with just reaching out to our students, especially during this hard time of not necessarily being able to be face to face and make that physical connection and everything like that. It's been hard with like making that connection virtually. But he's allowed us to make connections with others, like with a few students, and continue to build on that connection. And even through those connections, developing a student leader. Like I actually have a leader who actually was a part of D-Ship Group before and was a part of Impact when we were face to face and everything, and was not confident in being a leader. But then through this, she became more confident and everything. And so it's just, it's amazing to just really see just God work through our students, and our ability to just really connect with one another. Because shoot, I'm gonna be honest, like sometimes I be getting discouraged, like, oh my goodness, Lord, like, what is it that you want us to do? Like, how are we gonna connect with these students? But then I learned to just be more to value that time that we do have with those small amount of students that we really have, and be more intentional with building relationships. So yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Keisha.
Um, it's so much because I get to see all the campuses. um, and I last semester I got a chance to lead a discipleship group, and that was amazing because I for over a year I didn't do any direct consistent time with the same students, and so it was just nice to be able to pour into uh, it was only women in my group, and so just pouring into these women and encouraging them and seeing them excited to learn and grow in the word. uh, but then also um, November or the end of October, I was talking to actually Magda, and we were like, we need to do something because our students are struggling and we don't know how to serve them. We can't, like, we want to be with them and pray with them. And it's just hard to do. And so we just kind of talked about it a little bit and got the idea to do care packages. And so we literally were like, well, if we do them, we have to send them out before Thanksgiving because some of the campuses are not coming back to campus after Thanksgiving. And so literally we stopped meeting, and then I started contacting church partners. And within 2 weeks, we raised $13,000 to get each student a book, either Reading While Black or I can't remember the name of the other book, but another book, a Starbucks gift card, candy, an impact mask, lip balm, hand sanitizer, all in a the same drawstring book bag that you all got in your care packages are the bags that our students got. And so we and then I was adamant. I was like, I'm going to every campus and I'm taking these to the students because I need to see them. And so we passed those out, and like it was students so encouraged and so excited, and it felt like we were touching them even though we didn't get to touch them. And so because they touched something that we touched, and they were able to get something that they can touch. And so that was really encouraging, the excitement, and then also the excitement to see us, because all the coaches were on the campus with the students when they passed out the care packages. So we're excited to see each other. It was some campuses we're standing in this big one campus we were standing in this big circle, 6 feet apart, and it was like 6 to 8 of us, and we're just talking because we haven't seen each other in like 8 or 9 months. And so it was just a blessing to be able to see students excited. And then we started getting tagged all over Instagram from students from every campus that we're on saying, thank you so much for these packages. Like, it was very encouraging for them to just receive something that's small, but it was something that was just that encouraged them, even if it's for that moment.
Awesome. And
Well,
then Jimmy.
I'll be real quick. And for everyone on the call, I know that everyone has been touched by this disease. It's really being hard to find somebody that you don't know that have died or been affected by COVID. And so we offer our condolences and our prayers to all you guys to this process. It's very important. And in light of that, it's been a difficult year. But one of the things that we started right away with Impact Nationally, we felt like we needed to pour content into our students. And so we started a thing called Real Talk with our community that ran every single Monday, starting, I think, March 27th. We took off maybe for a holiday and it went through the summer, and now we're back. We're doing it every other week. And we had a variety of topics. Twice we had public health officials on to talk about the pandemic and how it's affecting us, and the vaccine, and how we need to follow these protocols. We dealt with anti-Asian racism. That was really the first part of the pandemic. Before we were talking about Ahmaud Arbery, it was just violence against the Asian American community. We discussed that as well. We talked about new ways of doing discipleship. And we always have panels. So it's not always just 1 or 2 people, but it's 3 or 4. And we'll continue to do that. And the good thing about that event, we got as high as 14,000 people watching one of our programs. And we were averaging 2,500 to 3,500 a week. We're coming back. We just had our first one in 2021 last Monday, as we were looking at the life of Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. We had the author and scholar who's written a book about him, and we're going to do more of those this year. And most of all, we want to really be very careful to see our students live to find themselves back on campus. So again, thank you for all of you guys, not just your financial support, your prayers, and praying too that your families are safe and healthy during this time.
Amen. Well, that is that. Thank you all who have been sticking around for these extra 7 minutes. We truly appreciate you all. I thank the panelists. They can't see it right now, but if you want to, put more of them emojis and hearts, applauses up there, you definitely can. I am going to allow Keisha. Do you have any final words before Jimmy closes us out in prayer?
Yes, thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate you all being here. And it's nice to be able to see all your faces because I have it on gallery. And so I miss you all so much. I wish I was able to actually share a meal with you like we usually do. But hopefully that time will come again, maybe next year. So thank you so much for all the work you've been doing. What we've been able to do in this state would have not happened if it wasn't for the people that's on this call. So I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you and all of your prayers, all of your support, and even some of your guidance, because I've received a lot of guidance and a lot of encouragement and a lot of love from most of you, all of you. So I just want to just thank you again for just everything that you do.
Yeah, and kudos to Keisha. Great job of organizing this. Exceptionally well done video. I'm grateful for her and her hard work. She's one of the best. She's killing it, and everyone on the squad knows that too. Let me pray for you guys and all the things that's happening in your life. And let's see. And I think when she says see you next year, she's not talking about calendar year. She's talking about academic year. Am I right, Keisha? She want to see you sooner than that. She's not talking 2022.
As a group, a year, but I'm hoping to I get to see most of y'all before a year.
Okay. Let me pray for us. Lord Jesus, we bless you and praise you in this time of Lent. The way that you entered this world, this incarnation that you did of touching people's lives, removing disease and demons and feeding people, your very presence, your very way of identifying people as human beings is something exceptional that we still seek to model and demonstrate ourselves. And so we bless you and praise you. And for those on this call and those who are not, I pray that you will continue to put a hedge about them, protecting them from this virus and their families, keeping them safe and secure, to not only follow protocols, but that they'll be able to give testimony one day of going through this period of time and how God protected them, just like you protected Israel when on that last plague that came down while they were in Goshen. So I pray that you would be with us. I pray too that money would come in, that we could see more staff in Wisconsin. Of course, I'm praying around the country, but tonight, Wisconsin, more staff there as well. And that there'll be funds and there'll be students with it, because the students are there waiting to join this ministry and they want to know Jesus, someone who sees them and loves them and can live in them. So in the meanwhile, bless these people. Bless them all, Lord Jesus. Keep them secure and safe. And one day, just like Keisha said, maybe we'll all see each other and embrace each other with face mask or without face mask, but we can feel the human touch of just being with each other's presence. We say this all in your name. Amen. Good night.
Amen. Good night, everyone. Thank you again for coming. I think that went so well.
You guys did. Bobby, you are a natural.
Oh man, listen. First of all, I
Oh.
was very nervous and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said the thing about the pocketbooks, but hopefully they take it as a joke and we will keep moving.
Hey, your heart. I've done a lot of Zoom, and it does. Some people don't come across friendly,
Oh, yay.
but you do. You are inviting, and you gravitated, and you brought them in. And
Well, praise God.
first
Thank
comment
you.
was just a throwaway. It actually was. It was perfect. It was
Oh, yay.
a little awkward, but like, well, hey, you know why we're here. We have 45 minutes. Let's get it out there. And then it actually broke the ice. It was a great way to do that. And
Awesome.
that
Well,
was, I
praise
was
God.
just
Thank you so much.
so
And